wow, you guys are gonna love doing this stitch. This is super fun and it doesn't weave up at all how it looks. So if you're into making like the Scooties, which is a scarf and a hoodie, this is a perfect stitch for that because it weaves up really quick and easy. And it doesn't roll. So especially if you use a hook that's about 5.5 millimeter or larger, and you know, of course, the look that you get is going to vary depending on the yarn choices that you make. The black and white obviously is really super striking. It's definitely going to be a conversational piece, I already know. So anyways, if you guys are ready to embark on a wonderful stitch, grab a Tunisian crochet hook. I do recommend grabbing two color yarns that contrast each other pretty well. This tutorial calls for a chain of 10 and this pattern is multiples of 2. All right, so just a note is we're going to be doing a foundation row, a normal foundation row of Tunisian simple stitch. Then we're going to do one more row of Tunisian simple stitch, and that is going to be row 1. And we'll be doing a normal closing on every single row. Okay, so chain 10. I'll see you guys back here in just a moment. Okay, so we have our chain of 10 and we're just going to pick up a loop in each chain. And then you're going to do this all the way down to the very last chain. Now you're just going to do a normal closing. And then when you get to the last stitch here, you're going to do one more row of Tunisian simple stitch. So normal closing, yarn over, pull up one loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops all the way down. Okay, so you're going to make one more row of Tunisian simple stitch, and we're going to use the vertical bar and the first horizontal loop. And you're going to do this all the way down till you get to the last stitch. So we've reached the end, and you're just going to simple stitch in your last space there. And then you'll follow through with a normal closing once again. Okay, now we have finished our foundation row, row 1. We're going to start row 2. Now when you're down to the very last 2 loops on your hook from row 1, you're going to add in your second color. All right, now you've got your first vertical bar, and then you've got your second vertical bar, and then you've got the one right below it. What we're going to do is insert your hook into the vertical bar in the foundation row here. You're always going to do this move in the row below, this particular stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1. Now, in the very next bar and horizontal loop, you're going to do a Tunisian simple stitch in your working row. The working row is the row that you're currently working on. And then in the next stitch, you're going to come down to the foundation row, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1. And you're going to follow this method all the way down, alternating stitches to the very last stitch. All right, so we are down to the very last stitch space, and you're just going to do a Tunisian simple stitch. All right, and we're going to follow through with a normal closing. Okay, now right here is where you're going to you're not going to finish. Well, you are going to finish with the dark, but it's not going to be quite the same. You're not going to join your next color just yet. Okay, so what you're going to do when you get to these last two loops on your dark color is you're going to finish out the row. Okay, now insert your hook into the vertical bar and horizontal loop of your very next stitch. Just like that. Okay, you're going to drop your dark color, pick up your light color, and pull up a loop with your light color. From here, you're going to do Tunisian simple stitch all the way across using the vertical bar and horizontal loop of each space. Sorry, it's like a little bit blurry right there. Okay, and you're just going to do the Tunisian simple stitch using that method all the way to the end. Okay, so we have reached the very last stitch space, and you're just going to do a Tunisian simple stitch in your normal loops as always. Okay. Just a note, you're always going to have the dark color on the outside for this pattern to turn out the way that it should. If you try and change the color at the very last stitch, like traditional color changes are, it's not going to turn out right. So you always want to do the technique I showed at the very beginning of the row, which I'm going to show one more time, okay? At least one or two more times. So you're just going to follow through with the normal closing. Pull up a loop through one, pull through two loops all the way down. All right, so now you have the last two loops on your hook, and what you're going to do from here is you're going to drop your gray, pick up your dark color, and finish your row out, having the dark color as the last loop on your hook. Now, from here, to start the next row, you're going to do a Tunisian simple stitch. In the first blue row, we did a Tunisian simple stitch plus chain one in the row below. So it's always going to be the opposite of whatever you did the first row. You're going to do the opposite in the following row of your dark color. So in this case, we're going to do Tunisian simple stitch using the vertical bar and horizontal loop. Then you're going to come over to the next stitch, the next stitch, and one loop down, insert your hook, pull up a loop, chain one. Insert your hook into, the vertical bar and horizontal loop. Come over to the next stitch, one row below, insert your hook, pull up a loop, chain one. Insert your hook into the next stitch, or vertical bar, and loop. And you're going to follow this method all the way down to the last stitch, which you'll finish with a Tunisian simple stitch. All right, so we finished our row, and then you're just going to close this out with a normal closing. Pull up a loop through 1, yarn over, pull up a loop through 2, all the way down, okay, so remember, when we're closing out our dark row, we're going to close it out all the way. Then you're going to take your hook, insert it into the vertical bar, 1 horizontal loop, drop your dark color, pick up your light color, pull your light color through those 2 loops, and complete a Tunisian simple stitch. And you're going to do this method all the way across to the last stitch. All right, so you can see how your pattern is going to start forming here. And we're just going to follow through with the normal closing. So I'll meet you all the way back over here. Okay, so we're back at the last 2 loops on your light colored row. So remember, you're going to drop your light color, pick up your dark color, and finish the row, with your dark color being the last loop on your hook. Now, you can see the way that the pattern is. So in the first dark row, we had the Tunisian simple stitch plus chain 1, and then regular Tunisian simple stitch. Then in the following row, we had a Tunisian simple stitch in the second bar, and then we followed through with a Tunisian simple stitch plus chain 1 in the next stitch. Now, to start your effect here, you're going to do just the opposite of what you did in the last dark row. So instead of doing a Tunisian simple stitch right here in this row, you're going to come to the row right below, insert your hook into the vertical bar, pull up a loop, and chain 1. Then in your following stitch, you're going to insert your hook into the vertical bar and horizontal loop and follow through with the Tunisian simple stitch. Once again, coming to the row below, insert your hook, pull up a loop, chain 1. One more time, insert your hook into the vertical bar, horizontal loop, pull up a loop for a Tunisian simple stitch. And you're going to follow this pattern all the way down. So you're going to repeat, I'm not sure what rows, but I'm going to put it on here. So anyways, you're going to repeat the rows that I have written up here for your pattern. Sorry, I just lost count of which rows I was doing. Anyways, if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. As you can see, the visual appeal is completely different with different yarns that you choose. So of course, my favorite is the black and white, which I have here for you guys in my yarn fiasco. And it's just totally awesome and really striking. So you guys can experiment and do whatever you want, you know, show me pictures, send me an email, whatever. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in with me today and spending a little bit of your time with the Crochet Lady. Okay, I will chit chat with you guys in the very near future.